You're listening to the How to Talk to Girls podcast with your dating coach, Trip, from tripadvice.com. Do you struggle with getting girls to like you? Well, you're going to learn step-by-step how to talk to girls to create deep connections and meet the woman of your dreams. Here's your host, me, Trip. Hello and welcome to the How to Talk to Girls podcast. This is your host, Trip Kramer from tripadvice.com. Now, I wanted to make a short little podcast for this Saturday, and what I wanted to do was talk to you about something that I've talked about before, but really want to hammer the point in. You know, I get a lot of questions from guys who talk about and ask questions about, where to meet women, and they don't know where to meet women and where are all the good women and what are some great ways to do that. Well, I want to tell you today, I was actually at the Apple store, and it was just jam-packed, right? There were people everywhere. And that got me thinking, why can't a guy meet a girl in an Apple store? Why are guys always thinking, okay, the only places to meet them are at bars or clubs and maybe somewhere during the day? That's the only places I think that guys feel like meeting girls. We're talking about in person, by the way. Of course, you can meet girls on apps and all that stuff, but I know for a lot of guys that doesn't work out as well. But there are some really hidden places that guys don't think about, right? The everyday places, things where people are going to, events that people are going to, in places like the Apple Store, which right now it's the holidays and there's so many people around. Why can't that be an avenue for you to meet more women? So I really, I beg you to ask yourself these questions of where can you meet more girls outside of the typical places, outside of the bars, the clubs, and the apps. I'd say those are probably the top three. So where can you do that, right? So how are you going to do that? Well, there's a few ways you could do that. One is you can actually just, think about it for a second. Think about the places in your town and your city, where you're actually going to be able to meet those girls because there's a lot of people around. And that's one way to do it, right? But another way for you to do this is to think more about you creating a life for yourself that allows you to meet more women. Okay, that's really the big secret here. A lot of guys, they're really just kind of shy and they kind of stay home, or they don't have much of a life, or they work too much, or they're doing too much schoolwork, and they don't create a life. They don't create a balance for themselves. And really, that's what I want for you here. I want a balance. How do you create balance? Well, balance is going to come in the form of you being able to do more than just one thing every single day, right? So, for example, in my life right now, I would say I need to work a little bit on that balance. I'll be honest with you, I do. I spend a lot of time at home working on TripAdvice and, making podcasts for you and making videos for you and making programs for you. And so right now in my life, I'm trying to find balance. So I'm going to be doing a lot of traveling coming up here soon. Don't worry. I'm still going to be doing podcasts and videos. Nothing's going to stop. But I'm doing this to create balance in my life, to be able to, okay, now I can work from anywhere. So I'm going to work from somewhere that's a little bit more interesting. So I have more opportunities to do more things with my life. And of course, that's also going to add to you because I'm going to take those things and extract those fun times and lessons and do them here on the podcast and things like that. So that's fine. It's all kind of work related, but it's also fun and interesting, and it's making my life a little bit more balanced and a little bit more kind of spread out. You know what I mean? I'm right now, I'm the opposite of spreading myself too thin. I'm spreading myself too thick, right? I'm just kind of focused on one thing. So I beg you to ask yourself the question, where can you do this in your life, right? Where can you do something else that's going to be a little bit different from the everyday routines? And guess what? For you, that is an opportunity to meet more women, because once you start doing more things, once you start doing more activities, common things are to go on places like meetup.com or get involved in, intramurals or sports leagues or anything else going on in your city. And if you live in a big city, it doesn't matter, big city, small town, wherever you live, there's always an opportunity to do something new. And in those opportunities are places to meet women. And here's the best place, right? Here's the best thing and the best secret for you. The best secret is that when you do this, it's going to be 15 times easier, 100 times easier to be meeting these girls. Do you know why? Because you already have something in common. You already have something in common. It's going to be easy for you to start conversations with these girls and to get into conversations with these girls. So if you're a really shy guy, get ready, because how much easier is it to talk to someone based on something that you're already doing versus going up and doing a cold approach. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm very, very in favor of you doing what's called cold approach, right? Meaning you're going up to girls randomly that you're trying to start conversations with. But I want you to hit all avenues. I want you to hit every avenue you can. The apps, the online dating, the cold approaches, and then this sector that I'm talking about now, right? The areas where you have something in common with them. So think about that, right? You go to an Apple store, well, you already have something in common with them. Why? Because you guys are both at the Apple store probably buying something similar. Okay, so that's an absolutely easy place and way to start a conversation with someone. So what are the places? This is a YouTube video right now. I'd say write down below your comment in terms of what you think in terms of this idea. But I know we don't have that here on the podcast. But I ask you to think. I ask you to think really hard right now to yourself. Where is there somewhere in your area that's populated? Now, if you're saying, Trip, I live in a small town. I'm in like a town of 100,000, 50,000, 10,000, 3,000, 200 person town. Well, I made a whole podcast episode, maybe a few back, so you can go back to maybe like 3 or 4 weeks earlier, where I talk strictly about what you can do if you live in a small town to meet more women. So if that's a problem for you, don't worry, we got that solved. Go and listen to that podcast. But if you're in a place where you're like, yep, Trip, I live in a place, lots of people, millions of people, hundreds of thousands of people, I think I could do this. Well, then that's when I ask you, what are the areas, right? Popular stores, events that are going around. Like I said, meetup.com. Facebook. Facebook is a great avenue. Facebook always has events going on. People who throw events and parties and things like that, they put that on Facebook. So you can search different events through Facebook. It's a really great way to meet more people. Another thing you could do is you could look up hashtags in your town in terms of searching on Instagram, right? People will hashtag different areas of your town. So maybe put in a neighborhood or put in your just direct city, and you'll see people doing stuff, right? People take pictures of themselves doing things on Instagram. So you can use Instagram as a way to search what people are up to and then find cool things to do within your city. So again, searching hashtags, searching what people are up to, popular places, right? So simple. Like that's an easy hack. And then go to those places. Go to those places and start chatting up the girls. And I don't really talk about this as much on the podcast, because I keep forgetting, to be honest with you. But if you have trouble with conversation and how to talk to girls, get my free little video called Chick Crack. tripadvice.com/chick-crack. I'll put that in the episode notes, so then you can get a hold of that and learn more about how to actually talk about the conversation topics that women like to talk about. So go check that out. But more importantly, after you get that, you need a place to use it. So use Instagram, use Facebook, right? Any other form of social media that you can think of. I'm not sure about Snapchat. Maybe they have some sort of feature there in terms of search, but I don't know. I think there might be a discover section. But I think Facebook and Instagram and Meetup are really great areas for you to do that, right? To find those hidden places. Or just thinking about some of those places where you never thought to approach a girl. You might not have thought to ever talk to a girl at Apple or any other place that's busy. You might have thought like, oh, that's not an area where you can do that. Trust me, it is. Women love being able to meet new guys in new places, right? They love it. It's very romantic. It's so romantic these days to tell a story about meeting a girl in a random place, or let's just say meeting a girl not through online dating. Again, nothing's wrong with online dating. You can do that, all good. But if it's something different than online dating, it creates a nice story, and women love that. And I think that you would like that too, right? So go check that out. Those are some great ideas for you. That's what I got to say on today's episode. A little bit shorter than usual. But I really just wanted to mind dump this on you so you can learn about some other places to meet women and start practicing. So for other guys too, if you're in school, if you're a little bit younger, there's obviously places as well, right? You can go on campus, go to the quad or areas where girls are. So it's even much easier for you, for a guy who's in school, because all the girls are right there on campus. Boom, ready for you to start conversation. So there you go. So try that out. Don't forget, get Chick Crack. That's going to be in the show notes, tripadvice.com/chick-crack. And don't forget, if you are listening to this in real time or within a couple days, there's only a few more days left on getting my Fearless Formula program at tripadvice.com/fearless, tripadvice.com/fearless, tripadvice.com/fearless. So go check that out, and that is the program that is 10 hours along the Ultimate Home Study course to help you become fearless with women and dating. So, lots of homework for you, lots of things to check out. I'm out, and I'll talk to you next week.